From the Newstalk ZB newsroom, this is Newsfix.
In this update, a heavy rain watch remains in place for Dunedin, North Otago and Clutha until 9 a.m. Weather conditions have improved overnight, but road closures and slips are continuing to impact the region. Dunedin Civil Defence Controller Sandy Graham says there are more than 40 road closures to be assessed this morning. Overnight, the evacuation centre at Forsyth Bar Stadium looked after about 30 people. The Army has been helping staff cordons around South Dunedin to stop people driving through floodwaters on closed roads. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is keen to get the country better at responding to serious weather events. Christopher Luxon says it's about improving where needed.
What else can we do to strengthen NEMA, for example? And those are conversations that have been happening just actually in recent weeks.
Meanwhile, separately, emergency response teams are to be put to their paces in Wellington this weekend for the first exercise of its kind in 20 years. It's part of an operation named Exercise Poseidon, a 36-hour-long large earthquake drill designed to see how responders operate in the disaster situation. Google's threatening to rip all links to New Zealand news content from its search engine over the Fair Digital News Bargaining Bill. The legislation, due to pass later this year, would require the tech giant to pay news companies for their content. Auckland University media professor Gavin Ellis says the government could play hardball back or modify the bill, but he says he firmly believes the only way to bring platforms like Google into line is to tax them.
Ultimately, we've got to find a way of ensuring that the use of that material flows back to the news organisations that pay to produce.
And believe shifting the oversight of school property to a new entity could set processes and buildings on a better path. It's being established after a recent ministerial inquiry found Education Ministry management to be bureaucratic, inefficient and unfocused. Secondary Principals Association President Vaughan Quio says the sector has been crying out for changes in the property space for quite some time. He says it's a complicated beast and not all schools are the same, but simple is probably best. Quio says we need functional, warm, safe and sturdy, and sometimes extra earthquake measures. That's news. In sport, Dame Farah Palmer has endorsed Dame Patsy Reddy's decision to stand down as New Zealand rugby chair. Reddy's championed the Pilkington Review into New Zealand rugby's constitution and governance, which said the governing body was not fit for purpose and stressed the need for a 9-person independent board. Deputy Chair Palmer says Reddy's move represents her skills and values.
We're going to miss her strong leadership, but I think she's shown some strong leadership by stepping aside and allowing this process to continue and still playing a key role in that.
Middleweight boxer Andrei Mikhailovich has fallen short in his quest for a boxing world title in Sydney. He was stopped in the 9th round against IBF champion Janibek Alimhanila of Kazakhstan. And Team New Zealand will face Ineos Britannia in the 37th America's Cup in Barcelona. The British boat beat Luna Rossa in the Challenger Series final 7-4. That's sport. I'm Claire Sherwood.
For more news, listen to Newstalk ZB live on iHeartRadio.